Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. This podcast is dedicated to EAS employees of the U.S. Postal Service and members of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. So, pour yourself a cup of coffee and join us for today's episode. And now, here's your host, Robert Wakefield.
Good morning, Branch 32, and good morning, Naps family, wherever you're listening. Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. It's presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. I am your host and president of Branch 32. My name is Robert Wakefield. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Oh my goodness, we got a great show lined up for you, so let's go ahead and pour that first cup. Banking shouldn't be complicated. At the Nashville Post Office Credit Union, it isn't. With easy online loan applications, mobile deposit, shared branching, and a team that actually picks up the phone, you get real service from real people. No runaround, no surprises. Just a credit union built on trust since 1925. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union, people helping people since 1925. And for our first cup today, let me tell you a story about a carrier named Big Tony. And yes, everyone called him Big Tony, even though he was about 5'6" on a good day. But Big Tony had the personality of a linebacker and the confidence of a man who believed he could bench press an LLV. But Tony had one reoccurring issue. He kept misplacing his scanner. Not losing it, misplacing it. There is a difference. Losing it means you have no idea where it is, and misplacing it means you have several ideas where it might be, but none of them are correct. Tony's scanner has been found in all kinds of places. On the LLV bumper, on the top of a collection box. Somehow it got in the back of a collection truck one time. But they tell me this is true. I don't know if it is, but they tell me it's true. One time, they found it in the freezer next to the ice cream sandwiches. And to this day, nobody knows how that happened. Tony blamed the universe, and the universe declined to comment. So after coaching and mentoring and a shared responsibility plan, Tony was doing better. Well, mostly. But the turning point came one morning when his supervisor walked by and noticed Tony had clipped to his scanner a bright neon lanyard. And on that lanyard, it had these words: "If found, return to Tony. He is trying his best." Well, the supervisor saw that and just lost it, thought it was hilarious. And he leaned into the case and he said, "Tony, that is the most consistent I have ever seen you with that scanner. Whatever you're doing, keep it up." Well, Tony lit up like a Christmas tree. And here's the funny part. From that day forward, Tony never misplaced a scanner again. Not once. And why? Because someone noticed the effort and reinforced it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the power of reinforcement. So if you don't have that cup of Joe pour now, you need to go do it right now. We're going to talk about reinforcement and why it's such a big deal in the world of ELM 651.3. Now, reinforcement is the fourth non-disciplinary corrective tool. It comes after coaching, it comes after mentoring, and it comes after shared responsibility. Those are the previous episodes of Saturday Cup of Joe. Go check those out. And it's used when the employee has showed improvement, when the plan seems to be working, and when you want to strengthen a new habit. You can think of reinforcement as the cement that locks in the progress. It's the moment where you stop focusing on what went wrong and start focusing on what's going right. Oh my goodness. How I wish upper managers would embrace reinforcement. Let's stop focusing on what went wrong and finding someone to blame. Let's start focusing on what's going right and correct what's going wrong. Well, before we can talk about what reinforcement looks like, we got to clear it up what it isn't. Because sometimes this is where supervisors will drift off course. Now, reinforcement is not a reward system. When I think of reward systems, I think of when you're potty training your puppy. And when they do something right, you give them a little treat. Well, that's not what reinforcement is. Reinforcement is not a performance bonus. It's not a gold star. It's not a pat on the head. It's not even a generic good job tossed over your shoulder. Reinforcement is intentional, it's specific, and it's connected to the expectation. Reinforcement is targeted acknowledgement of progress. And this is what it sounds like. It sounds like this. I see what you're doing. This is exactly the improvement we talked about. Your consistency is making a difference. It's leadership. It's not cheerleading. So when do we use reinforcement? Well, you use reinforcement when the employee is meeting the expectation more consistently. That the shared responsibility that you talked about earlier is working. You use reinforcement to prevent backsliding into old habits that aren't good. And you also use it to build confidence. The last thing you use it for is to strengthen the new behavior before moving on to the next one. Reinforcement is the moment where you say, you're doing it, keep going. It's the leadership equivalent of tapping the brakes gently just to keep the car steady, not slamming on them or speeding up. You're just guiding the momentum is all you're doing. And the beauty of the reinforcement, it doesn't take long. It doesn't require a meeting, and it requires no paperwork whatsoever. So let's talk about reinforcement, how it actually looks like in practice, because this is where supervisors, I think, can make the biggest impact with the smallest investment of time. When we think of reinforcement, this is how effective reinforcement looks like. It includes naming the behavior. Something like, you've completed all the scans on time every day this week. Thanks for doing that. It's also connecting to the expectation by saying something like, that's exactly what we are shooting for. Or it's like our story where that supervisor acknowledged the effort. You're keeping up with your scanner a lot better than you used to. Way to go. Keep it up. And it's also encouraging continuation. It says something like, stay with this, you're building a great habit. Reinforcement is quick. It's not a moment. It's not a meeting. It's just leadership. Let's just call it what it is. It's a leadership high five, but it has a purpose. So why does reinforcement work so well? Well, there's some psychology behind that. This is some things that I read. People repeat what gets recognized. Reinforcement will build their confidence. It strengthens habits, reduces backsliding. I think the big thing is it shows respect. And reinforcement is the difference between temporary improvement and lasting change. It's the difference between I'm doing this because my supervisor is watching and I'm doing this because it's the right way to do it. And that brings me to the heart of the matter. The mindset behind reinforcement. Reinforcement says, I see you. I value your effort. You're on the right track. It's about recognizing that improvement is fragile at first. It's kind of like when you're growing a garden. It's like a seedling. You don't yank it out of the ground to check the roots. You water it, you protect it, you reinforce it, you try to make the thing grow. And that's what leadership is all about. So reinforcement is that quiet power of leadership. It doesn't shout, doesn't threaten, doesn't demand, but it transforms workplaces one moment of recognition at a time. And sometimes it can even keep a scanner out of the freezer. I hope that every EAS that hears this podcast will use reinforcement as the tool it's designed to be. Okay, that's going to do it for the first cup. Let's go ahead and pour that second cup. Since 1925, the Nashville Post Office Credit Union has been right here in Middle Tennessee, serving postal employees, their families, and our community with honest banking you can count on. Whether you're saving for something big, applying for a loan, or just looking for a place that treats you like a member and not a number, we're here for you. Visit us at 10 Rachel Drive or online anytime. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union, people helping people since 1925. And for our second cup today, I want to wish all mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. Tomorrow will be Mother's Day, and to all of our NAPS and EAS members that are moms, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for everything that you sacrifice to make the home what it is. And what I wanted to do for the second cup is I wanted to read a poem called God's Masterpiece. And it's by Herbert Farnham. So here we go. God took the fragrance of a flower, the majesty of a tree, the gentleness of morning dew, the calm of a quiet sea, the beauty of the twilight hour, the soul of a starry night, the laughter of a rippling brook, the grace of a bird in flight. Then God fashioned from these things a creation like no other. And when his masterpiece was through, he called it simply Mother. That's really good. I want to wish all of you, once again, all you moms out there, thanks for all that you do. And it's just a great thing to be a mom. And we all came from mothers. Just thought I'd point that out. Father's Day is coming up soon, so get those gifts ready. No, I'm kidding. But happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, especially those that are in NAPS. It's great that you are listening. And that's going to do it for today's Saturday Cup of Joe podcast, presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. Now, you know what to do. I've asked you many, many times to give me some feedback. And that happens every now and then. So you can go to SaturdayCupOfJoe@gmail.com and send me an email. Or go to napsbranch32.org. And at the bottom right-hand side, you'll see there is a chat feature. You can go in there and write your questions there. I'm the one that gets those. So be sure to do that. Let me know what branch you're listening from. And again, happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. And that's going to do it for today's episode. And remember, every great weekend starts with a great cup of Joe. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Robert Wakefield and do not necessarily reflect the views of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. We welcome your questions and comments, so send those to SaturdayCupOfJoe@gmail.com.